Welcome to Highlighting the Journey, where we dive deep into the stories that shape us. From real estate moguls to innovators, entrepreneurs, from life-changing pivots through breakthrough moments, we're here to uncover the paths that lead to success and the obstacles that build character and the insights that inspire action. And I'm your host, Dan the Podcast Man. Today, we're highlighting another incredible journey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my show, Highlighting the Journey with Dan the Podcast Man. Today, my guest is pretty awesome. His name is Ralph Rivera. He owns what? What do you own, Ralph? What's the name of your company?
Oh, 2R Properties, a real estate investing firm based in the Suffolk County area of Long Island, specializing in fix and flips and single-family rentals.
If you just heard that segment, Ralph over here, if you follow him on Facebook, that is his signature line for every start of his videos, and I love it because it's like, here we go, Ralph. What is cooking up with Ralph today? But what I want to get into is Ralph, a little bit of your background. Well, let's really hone it back. What was the first? Let's start with, what was the first job? What was your first job?
Believe it or not, I worked in a gas station as a kid pumping gas back in the day when you actually went and pumped gas for people. They never got out of the car, so you did it, checked the oil, washed the windows. That was my first job.
How old were you when you were doing that?
11. I was making $2 an hour.
My God.
And I thought I was making big bucks.
You were. Did they tip you?
Yeah, especially because you're a young kid.
Nice. So, like, from there, let's speed up the process a little bit. I was like, wow, man, 11 years old. Wow, my God. But that's back in the day where, like, you know, that was normal. That was normal for
Kids,
11-year-old.
On the weekends, you usually worked, you know, when you didn't have school.
Right. But let's dive in a little bit more of, obviously you're a real estate investor. You've been around for quite some time. I met you in the East Coast RIA meeting. But ultimately I want to see, how did it all start for you? Like where did the investment bug or start to get into you?
Was always interested in real estate. I started out when I was a teenager parking cars for our owner developer in Manhattan. Then from parking cars, I wound up running his parking lots. From running his parking lots, I wound up running his buildings. So then from there, I was involved in that, and I was with him for about 30 years. And then after he passed, I wound up jumping to another company where I ran 10,000 units, 140 buildings.
You were just like basically the superintendent, right?
I was the property manager.
Property manager.
So I ran all the supers, all the porters, dealt with unions, you know, dealt with a lot.
And I think this is a very good topic of the conversation where I want to pick some parts about your story, is that you got to start somewhere. That goes with any type of job, starting at the bottom. You started literally at the bottom, wouldn't you say that?
Yeah.
And then you've excelled and started to push your way up by I would say, showing up. What else would you say? The initiative?
It was, to be honest with you, it was a different time, and people could actually start at the bottom and work your way up, right? Going through. They recognized hard work. They recognized, you know, attendance. And to be honest with you, I worked in an all-cash business. When you're parking cars, there's a lot of cash. And the honesty factor.
There's no Venmo, Apple Pay. There's there's no tap to pay.
Right. So what happened is they brought me to different locations, and every location I went to, they made more money there, which meant that obviously people there were skimming. I wasn't. And the honesty factor came up. And then from going from place to place, I wound up running it.
What's so crazy, so I've been doing a bunch of these podcasts. There's always these stories, these types of stories where people are stealing and skimming. And it's just, I don't understand how people go to sleep at night. I just don't, I'll never understand that mindset. I just won't.
Well, there are people are short-sighted, right? Now look at, right? They could have made a couple of bucks, but look what it led to for me. It led to me running the whole thing, right? And then when I'm doing that, also, we had like projects, right? We had balcony projects because we had 1,200 units at the time I was running. And the job back then, which was a lot of money, was $3.5 million. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to mention any names, but the contractors came up to me and said, hey, you're cut in already for this. So now I could have made, for me, at the age, money.
What year was that? roughly? I don't know to pinpoint the exact year.
You got to say in the 90s.
Really? Yeah, and back then, because I'm into construction, of course, I was at the very tail end of, let's say, certain organizations running job sites.
Right.
And now it's really just squashed. It doesn't exist anymore. But back then it was normal.
Right.
You know, my father would tell me these stories like it was just normal. They were part of the business, and that's how they would push for the jobs and everything. But
Yeah. And I wound up, you know, telling the guy, listen, we're going to go in a room. We're going to figure out what you told me. What I'm cut in for. And we did. And I said, okay, now you're going to take that off the price. Because now it's going to look like my boss, I'm going to go back and tell him that I renegotiated now and I knocked the price down $350,000. And everybody goes, well, I don't want it. You're not going to, because what happens is, what people don't realize, once you do that once, they own you. They own you. Because every time it's going to come up and say, you remember when I counted you in for this? Dude, I don't want it. Listen, I have a problem with authority. So the last thing I need
why is that? Why you got?
It's just me.
No, I gotcha.
You know,
that exact thing happened to me. I'm in a construction manager position, and there was this moment in my career where there were the people that shouldn't have been on a job site, and I said, "Listen, you gotta come see me. We gotta check their credentials and everything." And then the owner came up to me, and and I was sitting down at my desk. The owner comes up to me, he has a wad of hundreds, and he shoves it in my hand. I'm like, and I look at it because I just wasn't processing. I was 23 at the time. I'm like, I look back at it and I'm like, no, get the F out of my office right now. Get out. And then I went to my the superintendent. I said, today's my last day. Today's my last day because I know my core values. If I took that, easily could have took that money. No one would have. It would have been, and I knew what ultimately would have happened. Right. Nothing would have happened to me. I know it won't, almost. But basically, at that moment, word gets around. But you could, and besides people knowing that, you know that.
Right. It's more for you. I listen. Like I said, I don't want anybody telling me really what to do. Right. In general. Right, you don't want to have a guy owning you and telling you, hey, this, and now we got another bid coming up for another, you know, like a waterproofing job around the buildings. That's another $300,000 job, $400,000 job. You don't want to have the guy coming to you and say, listen, I'm going to put my bid in there. Let me know where I have to be, and I don't want to start that.
My dad we have this great story on the job site one time, and I was young. I was training under my father as a safety manager. I had to be 19 at the time, and we're walking the job. There was this electrician. He wasn't wearing his hard hat. So my father went up to him, please put your hard hat on. He's like, okay, you put the hard hat on. Whatever, that was one day. So my father had this big van and working on a rental property. We filled up the van with garbage bags, all the debris, everything. The van was all filled up. So we pulled up to the job site that morning, and then we had an excavator go inside the van and scoop all the garbage out of the van for us. So we utilized that on the job, and that same electrician walked by and goes, I see nothing. Okay, so a few days pass, we see him again, no hard hat, another safety issue. My dad goes up to him and is like, listen, this is it. We're gonna remove you from the job. And the guy turns around and goes, you know what, Frank? How about I go to the superintendent and tell him that you were dumping garbage on the job site? And my father lit up. He lit up. He says, oh, really? Come on. We're going to the superintendent together. And you're gonna tell him exactly what you said. You're gonna blackmail me? Get out of here. And the guy literally almost, let's say he when he knew underwear.
Yeah.
And, but I love the fact my father taught me that. Because first of all, my dad was good friends with the super. It was already talked about and negotiated that he was allowed to dump the garbage. My dad went through the proper channels before he did anything like that. He wasn't just throwing garbage on the job site. So it was already established. But the fact that somebody would come up and start to blackmail you,
come on, that's the thing.
Come on, I'll hold your hand. Let's go. You go in a minute. But it sounds like you're in that same.
Yeah. It's old school values, I think. My kids know it. My son knows it.
Which is, I think, so.
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, it's rare when you see people who have that same core value. A lot of things nowadays are a little gray area.
I'm so lucky that I grew up the way I did with my father, and I was very lucky. I grew up in the construction environment with learning these when to say something, when not to say something, when to talk, and really to show your presence, when to curb your ego and just be quiet, And then when, hey, listen, this is the time to strike. I understand that with people, and I think that really helped me. But times did have changed. I went through a transitional page where even today, it's very like, oh my God, Ralph, you did this? Hold on one second. Got to write the email and then tell the whole entire company. Why?
Yeah. That's the way it is.
Why can't I just have a conversation? Hey, Ralph, man, you know you're screwing up, man. Or not even screwing up. It's like, listen, I'm not telling everybody, just please take care of it and we're done.
Yeah.
But I love that you bring up, I think that's why you and me, we clicked right off the bat. But let's continue with your story. So you got you're property manager for this building now.
Yeah.
So what year is that?
Well, actually, I started working from when I was at 16. I graduated in 79 from high school. So all through the 80s.
Really?
Yeah. I worked for the guy for 30 years.
Where was the building?
Where was the building?
Yeah.
Well, I had one in Forest Hills. Well, actually, it was I don't know if I want to say the name, but
okay, just name the vicinities.
Okay, it was in Forest Hills, right off Yellowstone Boulevard. It was a big complex there.
Okay, so you had that one, and you said what, another one?
Then, then we co-opted. I used to sit on 9 co-op boards in Manhattan. We had buildings in Manhattan, 9 buildings. Then he co-opted them all. So I used to sit on the boards there too.
When you sat on the board, like, let me hear one of the stories. Like, give me one of the stories that has been stuck to you of somebody complaining or some. I want to hear this one.
I'm at a board meeting, and one of the tenants come and say, they gave the apartment number. This guy's dog is barking, and it's after 10 o'clock. So I looked at her and I go, well, maybe the dog's watch stopped. And she looked at me. I said, are you kidding me? It's a dog. What do you want me to do? Kill it? I mean, really?
Sounds like, you ever watch Seinfeld?
Yeah.
It's like it's the episode where Elaine couldn't take that dog barking and they kidnapped the dog.
Dude, people, it's funny. When you grow up a certain way, we didn't have much as kids, right? My father, came here from Puerto Rico, couldn't really speak English. My mother was Italian, so they didn't want to speak. I didn't learn to speak Spanish, didn't learn to speak Italian because they didn't want us back then, which I hate to say it this way, was considered like a peasant language.
Oh, wow.
So, right. So there was no click one for Spanish. My father had to learn how to read English to put my toys together when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There was no, 15 different languages on anything. So you learn that way. So, it's tough when you go through places like that and then you look at people, your values are different. You didn't have much. And then you go look at a person who's sitting at the time, let's just say it's an $800,000 apartment, which was big bucks. Right?
That's a lot of money still. Right. That's still a lot of money.
You're sitting in that and they're complaining about the color of the wall sconce or, the air conditioner is, 3 inches too far out. And I'm like, this is what matters? I mean, that must be some life where your biggest complaint is, I don't like the color of the wall sconce, or that guy's air conditioner shouldn't be sticking out that far.
Whatever. And this is still today. I went through some hardships in my life, and I like to highlight that portion, the hardships, and I really honed in on gratitude. Gratitude, what are the things I got? It's very simple. I have a job. I got a house. I got my wife, my kids. Congratulations, Dan. You are doing better than most people, and you got everything you need. Yeah. Whatever else I have, for me, it's called a bonus. If I have a nice car, if I have, I'm able to purchase maybe, a new TV, a new computer, whatever it is. Those are all bonuses. Everything else does not matter to me.
So what happens is people, I guess, get all caught up in things, and it happens to everybody, but you can use hard times as a springboard, or you can use a hard time as a crutch, right?
What do you think most people do?
Well, for me.
Let's
okay, my father got murdered when I was a kid.
Wow.
Right? So I could have crumbled, right? I was 20 years old. I could have crumbled and become a big piece of crap, drug dealer, whatever.
You had every excuse.
Correct.
You had every excuse.
And all it did was made me more responsible and say, okay, I'm one of those guys that doesn't have a backstop anymore. So if I make a mistake, it's on me. My dad can't help me.
You don't have no safety
net.
Right.
So it's gone at 20 years old. So now your whole life changes, right? Your views on things change. What kids are doing, sometimes you can't do because you have a responsibility. I had a mom right? My mom, brothers at home. You know, you got family. It's a family unit. That's how I was brought up. You know, everything's together.
Right.
So I had to worry about mom. You know, me and my brothers, that's what we worried about. So where I went out and made money, had to make sure mom was okay, even though mom worked. You got to make sure she got this and that.
Would you say you're the head of the household now? You're filling in that's
For a long time,
you're filling that void.
I think I was, not that I wanted it. It's just that's the way it felt. It just felt that way.
It falls that way.
My brother was in the service, so he wasn't home. My younger brother was home.
We don't want to throw your brother on us. We don't want to throw your brother on the bus. But you know, it's just, you stepped in a role you didn't sign up for.
Right. Yeah. But you want to know what? At the end of the day, I have what I have because I was able to make that transition from not being a piece of shit to being a man, basically at a kid. And, you know, at an age where people are going out and doing things that don't have the responsibility that I had. And but it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not, for me, I look at it as that gave me a reason. I had the advantage over some people.
You do.
You know, that's how I look at it.
You do in so many aspects because of all of that. You kind of, I wouldn't, correct me if I'm wrong, because you went through that, which is, my God, that is horrible. But it's kind of like, no one scares you anymore.
No.
Like no one can instill fear. You went through literally one of the hardest things in life. You know, the fact that we hear the stories. You know, my father passed away for X, but the fact that he was murdered, that's a different
tragic.
Yeah, my grandfather's father was murdered right across the street from our house in Sicily, and we knew exactly who it was and what was going on. My dad knows who it was, and believe it or not, we were in Sicily. My father was in Sicily a couple of years ago, and they saw the guy that did it. And
really?
They knew exactly.
That's got to be hard.
Oh yeah, and my mom is such a sweetheart. She doesn't know who this guy is, but my dad knows all the information. He knows who it is. My mom's like, "Oh, how are you? How's it going?" And my dad's just like holding everything back. It was never formally like, "Oh, it was him," but it was through the grapevine what it was. But going through something like that, I guess, like you said, it was what your springboard, you would say.
Yeah, it was the reality that it's on me.
Yeah.
That's it, right? So not at 30, not at 35, not at 40, at 20. Okay. I have no safety net. So
I want to build a little bit of a timeline. This happened when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
When was the managing the buildings? Where
I was actually, it happened in 81. I was in Vegas. I had to come back because I moved out to Vegas and I was living out there. I loved it. I was having a good time, 18, 19 years old. Life is good. Especially in Vegas and California. I was driving back and forth. And
you were driving back and forth?
Oh, dude, I was.
Did you have a convertible?
No.
I just envisioned that. I don't know why.
But I being from New York, I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
I wound up working for Steve Wynn, and I worked at the Golden Nugget and all that shit. So I had a pretty good run.
You had some fun.
I had a pretty good run.
I
had a pretty good run.
Good.
So when I settled down, So it didn't matter because I did everything that I wanted.
Got everything on your system.
Yeah. So and then it was in the 80s when I came back, and when I came back, I wound up getting the job parking cars through somebody I knew, my uncle actually, my godfather, and then from there I stood with the same company until. When did I go to work for Vantage? Probably in 2014. So I worked for a long time.
Where does the investment portion?
While I was working in parking cars and everything in Manhattan, I always loved Manhattan. And Manhattan's a city, buildings, all the stuff that goes on. And I wound up going to a weekend seminar from Robert Allen. I don't know if you ever heard the name. Okay. He's like one of the godfathers of nothing down. Cost me $350. It was like killing me to spend that kind of money.
How'd you find out about this event?
Came on TV, and it piqued my interest.
It was TV ad.
Yeah, it just piqued my interest. Right, I spend a weekend in some hotel in Manhattan.
Okay,
right, it's $350. You get a workbook, beep, bop, bop, you get all the stuff. I said, you know what? this makes sense. It sounds like it makes sense, right? Because you're young, you're stupid, you don't know. Everything makes sense. It sounded good. So I went, I looked at it, I said, sounds like I could do this.
No, it's so true. It's just like, because what I see on social media now is like, you can invest in real estate, zero down, zero this. You don't need to do this. And it's like this. And it's that easy. And then you start to dive in and you're like, wait a minute.
This is work.
Yo, believe it or not, this is work. It's a job.
Yeah, so I went to the seminar. I liked everything the guy said. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I was working with somebody parking cars. He was an older guy, he was just established, had property, had vacation home, had this, had that. And some of the techniques in there, I talked to him about, and he used them. And he wound up owning a couple of properties free and clear because he refinanced certain things and paid things off. And all of a sudden, his bills went from X to this. It all worked.
It worked for him.
Yeah. So I said, oh, shit, this works. And then after that, I just bought in. I just started looking at houses. I didn't know what to do. I bumped around.
There's no guidebook.
Yeah. Then, you have everybody else trying. Then you had the Colton Sheets guy, and then you had this guy, everybody all over TV.
What year roughly was that? Was that 2014? No, it
was before then. That was probably, Robert Allen's probably 80s, late 80s. So I did it then. Then like everything else, you do something, then you drift in, drift out. I was making my money parking cars. I didn't care. So I was doing good. Yeah. And then I started to play with it. And then I went to Florida, right, to meet somebody. And they started telling me about flipping houses down there. So I was living in New York. I working in Queens, in Forest Hills. And
what age?
Probably in my 40s.
Oh, so you started late?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't start full time on this until I was 55 years old, my friend.
Wow.
So I jumped around, did houses, didn't do them. Biggest mistake I ever made. I did extremely, extremely well on my first deal. Flipped a house, made $150 grand, made $150,000 back in the day. Oh, put cement on my pool. I did everything you want to know.
You didn't invest the money back into the business?
No, because I said, okay, this is easy. When I need money, I'll go do it again.
Yeah.
And didn't realize that, okay, you did good, but it's not like that every time you go out.
Nope.
So that's when I realized that, man. Then I said, okay, maybe I'll do this, maybe I won't. Then little by little, I started to get more and more involved. And then I went down to Florida, started buying houses down there and flipping them. So on Friday night, I would drive from my office to LaGuardia, get on a plane, fly down to Florida, go to a hotel right outside the airport in Fort Lauderdale. Guy would pick me up at the hotel in the morning on Saturday morning. I'd go look at 10 houses, put bids on whatever I liked. Then he said, okay, you got this one, you got this one. Then that Sunday, we'd go around, get the crew, say, okay, this is what we want to do here, here, and here. Then I'd fly back home. Then 2 weeks later, go down, check on the progress. My first hard money loan.
Wow.
Dude, I'm actually doing business now in Florida with the guy who gave me my first hard money loan ever.
Wow.
My first hard money loan, my payments, you're going to love this one.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
$400. $400.
Can you?
And I'll tell you the story on this one. It's the first time I ever went. I didn't realize what hard money was. I always heard the term, but then I go down there and meet this guy, awesome guy. This guy David Dweck. He runs stuff down there. So he's asking me all these questions, this and that, and I'm like, dude, I have a Lincoln that's $42,000 sitting in my driveway at home that I could hide anywhere. I'm borrowing 40 grand from you for a house that I can't take anywhere. Give me the money or don't give me the money. What do we do? He started laughing, and he gave me the money.
Wow. Yeah. So especially Florida's market, because I do love the idea of Florida. I recently loaned out a private loan to people down in Florida to see how the market is, and I like the idea. I really like the idea. I do like Florida. I actually lived in Florida when I worked for Disney World, so and I love it down there. What I want to ask you is, because I want to invest in there, how is it transactions wise? Because in New York, how many lawyers and how many different things we have to go through in New York? How is it in Florida? Can you just go up to the door with the piece of paper and just say, sign this?
Florida's not an attorney state, so you could do it through the title company.
That's it?
You don't need an attorney.
Wow.
Don't need an attorney.
And how much faster? Well, okay, so let's ask this. What was the fastest purchase you bought down there? When you saw a house, I'm going to put X amount of money.
Under a week.
Under a week.
Yeah, because the title was already clear. They had already done the title work.
Wow.
You go,
I
you
want
buy
that
it, that's
turnaround
it.
time.
Yeah, because you know what happens is too. I mean, back then I was green, so I made a lot of mistakes and stuff like that. But you know, you can't if you do things right and you work quickly. Even if the market's changing, you have a less chance of being hurt, right? Because you're holding time and all of that. So you're in the, you know, you buy it and you're back out on the market within a month. You know, it's very difficult to get burned. So all your numbers and everything pretty much stay the same. You know, they don't vary
when
much.
you're in that really tight zone, that's house flipping. Where I think people don't understand is you're under the gun when where you buy the house at, let's say, the beginning of the year, and then selling it in halfway through the year can be completely different. You really, and your numbers will be screwed up. There is this unknown factor, and the best things to do for those is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is to make sure you plan ahead for that. There's the money for those
contingencies.
You got those gaps. I don't know what house I've done where I have not ran into an issue that you know what I mean? It's just like you open up a wall. Oh man, there's termites. Like and now this is another thing I just got to tackle, and that's going to cost me $2,000 to get the clean it up, abate it. But all that stuff, we ultimately, you could look at every single house ever, but it's just you'll always have that moment where it's just like, oh, congratulations, you're going to be spending more money.
Oh yeah, I only had 2 that I didn't find anything because I bought them, cleaned them out, and sold them. Didn't do any work.
Well, those are
That's
nice.
it. Yeah, they don't come around that often, but when they do, they are sweet. They are sweet.
Let's keep diving in. So you started investing in Florida. You were driving back and forth, and when did we start getting into New York real estate? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Okay. The first house I bought in New York was right before Superstorm Sandy, and I bought it in Amity Harbor. So welcome to New York. Yeah, exactly what you're going to say. Oh, 100%. 100%. So fix the house.
Hold on. Stop. You got to walk me through that story.
Dude.
You got to walk me through that whole story. You got to say, when you purchased the house, Sandy happened. I want to know the ins and outs.
Obviously, I purchased it probably 5 months before. No, less than that. Probably 3 months before Sandy went.
So it was October 2012 with Sandy. So you roughly bought it what?
It was warm out. So it was
that's nice. It's beautiful.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's a great time to buy.
First house by the water, too. Go there, by the water. And the house is a little bit higher than every other house there, right? And it was a nice style house. It was a foreclosure. Go buy it, renovate it, put new hardwood floors, new cabinets, new this, new that.
You're remodeling it right now.
Finished remodeling, in contract to sell it.
So it was up for sale.
And somebody goes to contract with me. And then we get the news of Superstorm Sandy. So now I see neighbors doing sandbags and stuff. So I said, okay, guys, listen, I never owned a house by the water. What should I do? Ralph, your house is higher than everybody's. Because who was? You never get water. Dude, when I went there, I couldn't get past Montauk Highway. Because it was south of Montauk. Yeah. Guy came back with a boat. He went with one of the little boats. And he came back and said, Ralph, don't go there. Just don't waste your time.
During Hurricane Sandy, I was a volunteer firefighter in my hometown of North Massapequa. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
We were listening to Massapequa's fire. We're on the radio, just hearing fire trucks are getting pulled in. And then at some point, I think it was like around 11 o'clock that night, my captain's like, we're done. Stay in the firehouse. We cannot go out there. We're gonna get killed. We're gonna get killed. And we were listening as Massapequa Fire Department, their fire truck was getting pulled away. It was getting sucked in because they were fighting fires by the shore. And then all the people that didn't evacuate, they had boats. We were talking to people from the maritime trying to get people to boats.
Right.
And then I think it was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That radio signal
gone,
and it was so eerie.
Yeah.
It was so eerie because we're just like we're all in the firehouse, like, what is going on? At the time, you don't think it's happening at that point. And then the next morning, everybody started knocking on the firehouse door. There's a fire here. My CO alarm's going off. But oh my God. So you couldn't go past Montauk Highway.
No. Then when it finally receded,
So how long until you were able to get back to your property? Like what was like from
about a week. I'm going to say about a week, if I remember correctly.
took photos?
I don't think I did. I was so pissed.
It had to be.
Oh, I was devastated. Dude, I went in there. The water was up this high in the house. That's how high it went. So I had all new wood floors, had to redo. All new cabinets, had to redo. Steps. The boiler was in the garage. Went over the boiler. I had the boiler that was no good.
Because you were in contract, you had to fix it up?
Well, here's the kicker to this.
Let's hear the kicker.
Okay. I go back, and I got to redo everything. FEMA comes. They got forms this thick and tell me they're going to give me a 4% loan for 2 years.
Oh, nice.
I go, by the time I'm done filling out the forms, it's 2 years. So, long story short, we don't get any money. We put it out of pocket. I go and I call the guy who's buying the house. I said, listen, I got to redo the wood. Do you want wood or you want tile? Ask the guy. I'll put the wood back. Okay. He backs out of the deal. So I said, okay, take him to court. Oh. So I wound up taking him to court. And he wins in court. So not only did I have to pay attorney's fees, I had to give him his down payment back.
So you really...
I got screwed.
Lack of a better term, you got double...
I got shafted.
Yeah, you got... Wow. So what
I lost 50 grand on that house, 60 grand.
That could ultimately you're done with real estate, right?
Correct. Especially your first deal.
In New York, because you did your first deal in Florida, but now you're tackling a brand new market, and now you just got super burned.
Yeah.
Wow, man, you're you're just getting burned, but somehow your springboard, like I'm going to use your term, and that you propelled up. How did you pop back up? How did you?
I said, if I stop now, I fail.
Did the term ever go across your head? I'm done. I'm going to stop.
No, never does.
I love that, and I hear when I talk to investors and people that are in this business, that is the exact words. They never thought about it. It wasn't part of the plan. It's not part of the plan.
I got to recoup them. For me, it's okay. I got to keep going until I recoup this money.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have investors. You got people who you owe money to.
Of course,
and you didn't make the money, so now you're in a hole. So now you keep paying interest on it. Digs you deeper. But you keep doing it until you get your chunks of money to pay the people back. As long as, listen, like anything else, you're going to make mistakes. I don't care. Listen, Carl's an awesome coach, right? We all know Carl, right? And we know the caliber of person he is and what he's taught us and how he's beat it in our head. But sometimes life happens. And when it does, as long as you have integrity and you stand up for it and make it good, come on. You know, what else can you ask for?
But the great thing about Carl, our coach, we share the same coach. Unless you fired him. Did you fire him?
No, I didn't fire him.
No, I see on your wall you still got. I saw that you got your SMART goals, and I did the same thing in my office. So when my goals for the year, I have more posts. I loved when I saw it in your office. I'm like, I'm doing that. But Carl is so incredible because, he is so to the finest detail when it comes to everything. But Carl really compresses 40 years of business and information that he went through and experience and teaches it to his students. And it saves us a lot of heartaches. We're still going to get the hard and troubled times of finding the unknown, this, that. But Carl really minimizes the risk because of the information and how to evaluate properties. And I think that is a major thing. People think, I'm just going to buy a house and flip it. Do you understand what your risk is? Do you understand?
No, the best part is you say, listen, you got to go get coaching. And they say, well, coaching's like $5,000. I said, okay. So you're going to go buy a $600,000 house and you got no problem with that.
You got no problem with that.
Right. But you don't want to spend $5,000, whatever the number is, for somebody to teach you how not to do it.
You said you were old generation, right?
Yeah.
So,
old school.
I didn't tell my father at the time when I hired Carl. And when I told him I hired Carl, he flipped out. He was like, you spend what on coaching for this guy? Why would you do that? Just buy the house. And I'm like, because my father did multiple houses, multiple rentals. Like, but it's a new world. It's a new world where coaching, you need a coach. You always need a coach. I'm going to need a coach to the day I die. I know that. I need somebody to hold me accountable for my actions.
But that's, what happens until you do that. Listen, I was like your dad.
Oh, I know you were. I know you were.
I'm going to pay this guy, and this person's going to,
it's a scam. It's a scam.
Yeah. He's going to regurgitate the stuff that you could see and this and that. And then I'm saying to myself, you know what? I got to give it a shot, right? Because now I'm thinking, I don't know, am I missing something? How can these guys be around for so long? But we got lucky. We got lucky in the fact that the guy that we picked had integrity and was awesome. Because if you got some guy who's a piece of crap,
100%,
you would be just like your dad. It ain't working.
100%. You'll get, and that's why I hate when I see these things online of these people younger than me. I'm 34 years old. Invest in real estate. I'm going to coach you. I know the house hacking, flip, and this and that, and yada, da, da, da. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's a scam. Yeah. That's a scam. And then and then you burn people, and then people get the wrong impression on what a coach is. Yeah. You got to find the right coach.
Carl's definitely an educator. Listen, he's an experienced guy, right? Everybody loves him.
He was hands-on. Listen, engineer.
Does it locally, right? On top of that. So he's not some guy in Chicago telling you what to do here in New York. So he's local to your area, knows all the codes and what's got to go on, right? Has been in the community and respected by people. If you're a piece of crap, nobody respects you. Anybody you mention his name to that knows him, loves him, right? Yeah. That tells you a lot about the man.
My wife always goes, "Oh, Carl," because he's.
Listen, I flipped houses before I met Carl. I flipped maybe 20 houses before I met Carl.
Really?
Yeah. I did a bunch of shit. But when I met Carl, he turned it into a business. So I became a business owner under Carl. I had a business plan. I had this. I had to follow my goals. What am I doing? What's your MAR? And Carl.
Well, that's the thing. When I was trying to get into my first deal, I said, this is the house. I'm going to buy it. And I was part of RIA, East Coast RIA. And then I think I went to like Mike Plachter. I think I went to Mike Plachter. And I'm like, hey, Mike, check out this property for me. He goes, oh, I saw this house. Dan, I think you should be careful. I'm like, why? Well, I noticed that this property, it was a two-family in Mastic. There's no windows for the bedrooms. And I'm like, so is it a bedroom? And there was kind of a closet. It was a commercial space where they're trying to convert it to residential. Right. And he goes, are you coaching with Carl, Dan? I'm like, no, I'm just part of the group. You should call Carl. I'm like, really? I got to call this guy? I'm so petrified to make this phone call and reach out for help. I don't know why. I guess that's just like the old school mentality. Yeah. I don't ask for help. You don't ask for help. That's you got to figure it out on your own. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna keep driving until. Are you lost?
Figure it out.
Are you lost? Yeah, no, we're not lost. I know where we're going.
We're just going the long way.
But ultimately, I went to Carl and I showed him that, and Carl said to me, "Oh man, Dan, there's so many red flags." But I'm going to say this. It's not even the red flags with the house. It's the red flags with basically you. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he was. Implied. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, and then he goes, and then he's like, listen, I don't tell people whether to buy the house or not. I give them the tools, the foundational stuff, and educate them. And then you ultimately have to make the confident decision. And what I love about Carl is when it comes to money and everything, he treats it like it's his money. He doesn't treat your money like, oh man, Ralph, try that house. Don't worry about it. But no, he factors in everything for that, and it's incredible. So Carl offered me, like, listen, you want me to coach you? I will. And I heard it at the time. I thought the price was that too much. Like, is this really? Should I do it? And you know the price and everything. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, this is such a big decision. You know what? I got to do it. I listen to every investor, Bigger Pockets. They're telling me, get a coach. So I hired Carl. And basically, I think I got my money's worth after the third session.
I got my money's worth on one phone call. I got 10 times what I paid him. No. Because I was doing a rental in...
Carl, you were saying this, Carl. I'm like, Carl, you made me should I bring up the price? But it was just you.
Yeah, I called him, and the guy picks up the phone.
He does,
and he's on vacation.
Yeah,
he says, Ralph, I said, what are you doing picking up the phone? You're on vacation. Ralph?
I want to put a little plug in for everybody out there. What me and Ralph are talking about is Carl Chavone. He runs the East Coast RIA group. It is an incredible group. If you're interested in investing in real estate here in Long Island, Carl hosts this meeting every month at the end of the month on Wednesday nights, I believe, starting at 8 p.m. to whenever. These breakout rooms, and they last literally till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. But if you're looking to join an incredible group, check out East Coast RIA, Carl Chavone.
Yeah. Actually, I know Carl. And the funny part is I was going to East Coast before it was East Coast.
What was it called?
Good question. Les Jansen ran it. Oh, actually, I saw in the news, Domenico's is closing. Did you ever go to
I just saw that.
Yeah. So I went there.
Carl's, we gotta get the last
do like a
meeting in
farewell
there.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
farewell.
So I went. My son, actually, I went down to Florida. I went to some seminar or something with my son because I wanted to get my son involved. Went down there. We came up and they said you got to pick a real estate associate. And you look online at the best things, RIAs, blah blah blah. Because I never knew what a RIA was until I went to this one thing. Then I met Les Jansen, and we were going to Domenico's and blah blah blah. And Carl was actually still there. He was like the coach. He wasn't running it. He was the coach. And then Carl eventually took it over. So I'm like one of the original members of East Coast RIA.
you're with handsome homebuyer Charles Weinberg at the time, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Charles. Listen, I love Charles. Right. I know a lot of people don't like him or whatever, his personality, but him and I started out at the same time. We had a very friendly rivalry going back and forth.
Love the rivalry.
Yeah, I used to do presentations because we were live. So I do a presentation, then Charles would do a presentation. I do a presentation, then I tell him, listen, I borrowed money for 10%. He'd go out and find money for 10%. Then one time I borrowed money for 8. He was pissed. Oh my God, how'd you get money for 8? So, and then a couple of times we got in a car together. I drove to his projects. He showed me what he was doing. And then he came to mine. I showed him what I was doing. We critiqued each other. Not that, because back then we were green. And we wound up having these conversations, and I wound up taking some of the stuff that he was doing. I said, listen, you don't mind, give me the color of this. It's fine. And it did the same with me.
So ultimately, this is like one of the biggest things I've learned. When I got into the East Coast RIA, I saw you guys, and I'm like, you're my competition. My brain went to,
right.
I'm fighting with you guys.
Yeah, it's most people.
No, that's just what I thought it was, and it's the complete, utterly
furthest thing from the truth.
Farthest, and that's why Carl. I know Carl for a fact, and I don't know. I'm going to say this just blindly. I know Carl has certain people allowed in his group.
Yeah.
And if there's certain people with the wrong intentions, I know a fact he would kicks them
He
right
vets
out.
everybody. You know, it's funny that you said about competition. I went to look at a house for a rental in Mastic.
Yeah.
And then somebody else called me from the group. I said, Ralph, I'm going to look at this house in Mastic. Blah, blah. I said, listen, I already been there. Yeah. And then he says, yeah, I looked at it, and they were giving me numbers and stuff like that. I said, listen, dude, the one thing I would do, I said, I was there. I said, worry about the room upstairs. Because there's certain things. I said, I got burned when I tried to rent it, square footage, ceiling height, blah, 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 all of the stuff.
What was it? Vaulted ceiling?
It wasn't a vaulted ceiling. So the way it curves down, so they measure and they do all this. It's not enough square feet, even though the rooms are big enough, not enough square feet because of the ceiling height.
Gotcha.
Right? So when they're doing that, and then when I had the conversation, I said, don't forget about that. He goes, you're going to bid on the house? I said, yeah. But just make sure you don't want to get burned. If you're going to put a price in, make sure you calculate and you got to make that right.
Gotcha.
So it became more of a, you do your thing, I do mine.
Well, that's the thing. We're all. How many people how many people I was putting offers in and they're beating me, and I was getting pissed off, and I was like, well, they should be. If they're beating me, they're better and faster than me. I shouldn't be angry at them. And I started to have that mind shift. And I think Dennis Kelly was the one. And now I'm going to mention his name because I actually did not like him.
Really?
Not be of his character. I'm sorry, Dennis. This is just what was in my brain.
I love Dennis. He's a great guy.
Well, there's so much backstory with Dennis, believe it or not. Real quick, one of my good friends that I spent years and years traveling with, we grew up in high school together, is Dennis's cousin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Dennis's parents were at his wedding, and I was a groomsman at my friend's wedding, and Dennis's parents was there. So when I finally got on the phone with Dennis, but I looked, so this is how it went. I looked at Dennis Kelly, similar my age, he explains his story, and then he's like, oh, yeah, I got house number 5, and then he beat me out on this. Atler. You beat me on Atler. Atler, that's a house property in Mastic, by $5,000. And I was just getting so frustrated with not just him, but a bunch of people, but I was honing in on him a little bit, like, why does he have all these properties? Why all this? And then when I got on the phone with Dennis and I started to learn, yeah, man, I've been doing this about 5 years, reading books. I didn't get into my first deal until year 3. And I'm only like 2 months in, already having a grudge against this guy for no reason in my head. I didn't announce it, you know. And then Dennis, we had this long, long conversation. We found out our history. We started to click. And Dennis goes, yeah, you want to come down to the property next week? I want to show you everything I do. I'm like, excuse me? You want to show me what you're doing? What are you talking about here? We're in competition. And I didn't realize that's not what the group is about.
Not the mindset. Listen, you can talk to majority of people at East Coast RIA, and I'm hard pressed to find probably 10 of them that haven't been to a project of mine throughout the years.
I haven't been to any of your projects, by the way.
Why?
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, listen.
But I know what you're saying. I know what your character, because I hear every time I brought you up in the beginning, and I didn't formally have the formal information. Ralph's a great guy. Ralph will show you the house, and then we hopped on that call, and you and me were like, fine in tune.
Because you want to know what? I go back to the same thing. When I started my first job, I didn't know what to do, right? You get trained as you go along. You learn the way the company does it. This is the procedure. This is the policies. This is how we do. It's the same thing with this. This is just work. Everybody, it's glorified because it's on TV, right? And some guy's getting paid to do an episode. And no matter how bad he messes things up, he makes $100,000.
But even something,
God bless him.
But even something like this, what I'm doing now with the podcast, it kind of looks glorified, but I'm trying not to make it look glorified. What I want people to understand is that it is first of all, it's a long play. People fail to understand that.
It's not get rich quick.
You flip a house and you're gonna make $10,000. You're gonna make $50,000, and then you're gonna do 7 more in the next 4 months.
Yeah, and they forget to tell you, you got to put $50,000 into it to get another house.
Yeah, no, of course. We're talking about the group and how vital and how important everything is. Now, where do you fall into this place now where you start excelling and started getting to these next levels with your real estate? You know, I want to highlight those moments with where.
Well, you know, it's like everything else. The more you do, the more seasoned you become. The more things that used to be a surprise are no longer a surprise. They're commonplace, right? Yes. So before you had to think about how do I solve this, how do I solve that? Now it's just, okay, go there, go do this, go do this, go do this. Right? So that speeds up your timeline, it makes your costs a little bit better because you know what to do. You're already kind of getting an idea what's happening. Yeah. Okay. Now that you moved. Oh. So I start to get involved, like you said, with Carl, with coaching and everything. You start to realize, and every time that I thought I was smarter than Carl, I got slapped back by something stupid I did. And that happens, you get the ego. I'm like everybody else.
Of course.
And then after a while, you just realize, you know what? It's a business. And I did everything myself for the longest time, right? I was one-man show.
Yeah, I remember.
I answered phones. I did mailings. I went on appointments. I did closings.
Wait, so what's the time period? I want how many years span of you doing it on your own, man?
Well, from 2000, probably from 2004 till about a year and a half ago. I decided.
Took him this long.
Yeah, I'm thick-headed. Didn't want to be responsible for anybody. Didn't want to hire anybody. Yeah. Didn't want to do anything. So I wind up realizing, in order to pull myself out, listen, it's a high-paying job if you make it, right? If you flip houses, you do 1-2 a year, you can make good money, but it's a job.
Yep.
If you want to make it a business, you got to pull yourself out.
It's very, very simple, and I'm learning this. I'm in the same position now where I have stopped doing it all myself. I'm done working in the business. I'm working on the business,
and I'm still a little thick-headed, right? When it comes,
of course,
to
that's never going to go away.
So it's ingrained in me. At my age,
of course.
So I wound up partnering up with somebody, my friend Will, actually, who was a lender. He lent me money for years. Wound up partnering up with him. Probably the best thing I ever did. For the first time in
Got your money guy.
Well, money guy, smart. He's a commercial appraiser by trade. So he does he does industrial plans.
Does he do your appraisals?
He doesn't do residential.
Okay.
But it's the same thing. The guy's going out there and, looking at, manufacturing plants, airplanes, rent-a-car fleets, truck fleets.
Oh, yeah, what's a house? Oh, one single family home.
So what happened is, he knows how to do research really, really well. So we look at areas that we want to go, because I'm doing a lot of stuff in Pennsylvania now. So he did a lot of research there because he was going out there and doing industrial appraisals on new plants and everything that are opening. So now, there's money being pumped in. So now, where do you go? You go where the money's going. Right. That, easy to work with. Guy's smart, easy to work with. And
you found the missing piece.
Yeah, and I trust him. Here's the thing.
Yes.
I got on a plane, and I went to go see my brother. And for the first time in 10 years, I was able not to answer the phone. He said, Ralph, I'm going on vacation. I got me, and I have this other girl who works for us, who answers phones and does stuff for Millie. He goes, we'll handle it. Don't worry about it. You need something? We need something really that bad, we'll reach out, but I don't see it.
That's the whole purpose.
Dude, in the first time in 9, 10 years, I was able to sit on a beach, have a drink, not worrying about being stupid and slobbering all over everybody if they called me to say something stupid. You're half out of it and you're drooling.
Oh, my God.
So, and at that point, I knew for a fact I made the right decision. So now we've grown. We got me and him. We got a girl who answers phones. Anything else that we need, we have in place. So it's nothing. We're starting to scale.
Was that one of these things you just wish you just did it earlier?
10 years ago, I wish.
Yeah.
Because right now,
and how much since that moment you figured that out, now since you put those people in place, how much has your business X'd?
Jeez. I did last year. I think we did 13 deals, 13 houses last year, and I averaged. Well, the most I ever did was 10 by myself, but that was like insane.
10 by yourself?
Yeah, insane. Yeah. It was insane though. I work a full-time job, plus I was doing 10 houses.
Where you work, Ralph?
Now I work at a bakery. I run a 65,000 square foot facility right over here in Oakdale.
How's the semolina bread?
It's not bad. Actually, that's probably one of the better things we make.
But so now you did 13 deals last year.
Yeah. Now
what are you at now? We're today in 2025. It is.
I think we got 4 going. Not really much because we're in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania right now, we have 3 units under construction.
Okay.
We're in contract for 6 more. And actually, we're in contract for 6 more. And today, contracts are going out for another 6.
For that.
So.
You wised up.
And they're all rentals, dude. All rentals. All rentals.
Love it.
So
I'm a rental guy. I want my rentals.
Oh, listen, I love the quick cat. I like doing the rehabs, right? There's just something about the creativity about it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Right,
I love it. Me too.
But the rentals that I have now have saved my life. Basically. Because without it, I couldn't do what I do now. Yeah,
me and Pocket Pete, well, not me and Pocket Pete, primarily Pocket Pete, but I'm with Pocket Pete on this one. We are making this event for the working class, the people that work the W-2, for the construction workers that out there that if they get laid off or they get injured,
right?
Because that happened to my father. He got in. He had to go for hand surgery. He was out of work. He was a laborer. He was out of work for a year, and thank God he had rental properties because we've been toast.
I'm telling you, Carl and I, we focused in on it because I don't have any retirement. There was no 401k. There's no nothing. Zero.
I hear the 401k. With my W-2, it's like, I throw into it. I was like, I don't even want to throw into that. I want my money and I want to put it in the real estate. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Real estate without the rentals, I can't retire.
Yeah.
Rentals were my retirement.
Can you retire right now?
Tight, but I could.
You could.
The problem is medical benefits.
It's always medical.
If I have to pay for medical, it's $3,000 to $4,000 a month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I got to give up $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year.
And who's going to make the semolina bread?
Yeah. Yeah, I worked over there.
I want to talk about a certain deal that you did recently. You teamed up with a bunch of people from the East Coast area. So this is kind of like the thing. We're in this group where now you're honing in on your network. These are your people. Right. You got this deal that comes across you, and I want you to walk me through it because I heard you a bunch of you guys. What was it? Tim Gallagher.
It was Tim Gallagher, Eva Biondo, me. Who else? That was it for us.
So let's walk it down. Let's break it down. So where's the house? How do we get into contract? How do we raise the money? How did you get those people involved?
The house is in St. James. Was in St. James.
Okay.
Actually, it's a great story. Actually, Tim brought it to me, and he said, "Ralph, listen, I got this house." Blah blah blah.
So Tim found it. Okay.
Yeah. Tim. It was Tim's short sale, right? Him and Eva were working it.
Eva's the master of short sales.
She is. So and Tim knows his shit too. Right?
Of course, yeah.
So he calls me and he says, Ralph, I got this place. And he put it out for X amount of dollars. And at the time, I said, nah, it's too expensive. I thought it was too much. I didn't think there was enough of a spread in there, right, for taking on such a big deal. And so eventually we agree on a price. We wound up buying it for $750,000.
So $750 was the price.
Purchase price.
Purchase price. Okay.
Yeah. We thought we were going to put like $275,000 into it and sell it for like 1.3 in that range, because I was comfortable with those numbers. We wind up putting in $350,000.
Wow.
But I got to give Tim credit where credit is due. Tim kept telling me the whole time, you'll get 1.5, you'll get 1.5, you'll get 1.5.
So real quick, what is the total cost purchasing the house and
we were like $1 million and change.
$1 million change.
Yeah, 1.1, 1.2 in that range.
So how did you fund the house?
I had a hard money lender.
Okay.
And private funds.
Gotcha.
Oh, actually, Rich Catalano was involved in that too.
Oh, he was Rich.
Rich, actually,
I gotta get Rich on here.
He partnered up with us.
Great.
So
That's part of the RIA group. Those are the people. You trust them. You spend the time with them. And you know
what it is? He's no hassle. He's no fuss. It's like borrowing the money from somebody, for 35 years and say, okay, Ralph, when you're done, let's settle up. And that's what we did. It was just that easy. The hard part was I was afraid because that was the biggest deal I ever did. And I was shitting through the whole thing. I'm like, and then we did it without permits. Dude.
Should we cut that out? It's done. It's transaction's done. But anyway.
But, I mean, all we did was remodel it. So we didn't move. We didn't do anything structural, right? But the bottom line is there's days when I had 15 guys running through the yard. And I'm thinking the neighbors are going to call the cops. And, and then I knocked on every neighbor's door. They were all happy as shit because we were taking care of that. I said, listen, we won't call anybody as long as you take care of us.
Please, please, please say this to me. All right. I want you to say this to me. How important it is when you buy a house to make sure that you get in contact with all the neighbors around the block. You have to talk to them and give them your card. Say, hey, you got any problems? Call me. Pocket Pete gives them donuts.
I go there, knock on the door, and I tell them this too. I have guys working. Listen, I just bought the house. It's going to be secure now. You have to worry about people going in. If you see or hear anything that you don't like if my guys are working, the music's too loud, or they're cursing, or something that's not right, please, that's what the number's here for. If you need something, my guys are here, and it's something I can help you out with, I'll help you out with it. So I helped the lady across the street. She had something with her furniture. I helped her out. You're great. You're great. The lady behind me, she boarded us. We had to cut down some trees and stuff. Went and knocked on her door and said, listen, we're going to be cutting the trees. And I had met her before.
Yeah.
I said, we're going to be cutting the trees down. I said, if any debris gets in your yard, I'm going to have professional people come over here, clean it, take it. Oh, you're not going to cut my trees? No, I'm not going to touch anything of yours. But in case there's debris, I want permission to come on and clean.
And then a lot of times with these situations that when you're remodeling and doing the houses,
can you take this tree?
Yes, of course. But what does it cost? What is it going to cost? Because ultimately that person can be a big catalyst where they could start calling the building department. They can start causing a fuss over there. They're being loud. They're working at 12 o'clock. I don't know. They're working at midnight. Whatever it is to screw you. And those people, they're a special breed, but they're there. They're there. So it's important to respect thy neighbor in that sense.
And it worked out. And I got a great contractor too, because at the time when anything happened, anybody came, he was very nice. The funny story about that one is the first day I started, 2 hours, the town showed up.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh.
Here we go.
And the lady was in charge of vacant homes. She goes, I wasn't supposed to come here today, but something told me to come here.
The Ralph alarm went off.
Dude, she was awesome. Yeah. Walked her through the site. She says, okay. I said, listen, I got the guys coming here to cut the lawn because the lawn was over. It was an abandoned house.
You were updating the house.
So I said, listen, I'm going to cut the lawn and everything. She goes, okay. I said, what do you mean, okay? She She goes, okay, I'll be back. Okay. She left. Dude, she comes back 2 weeks. How you making out? Nothing. She didn't tell the building department. Nothing. And I was like, oh my God. I from then on, I was nervous. I was nervous to begin with, right? Because a lot of money.
It was your biggest...
$1 million, you know, you putting out $1 million, $1 million, $2 million. I'm not used to numbers like that. When I started out, I was buying my house, expensive house was $225,000.
Of course.
Right? When I started
What
in
was
Florida,
the cheapest house you ever bought?
in Florida, I bought one for like $15,000. $15,000, put 10 into it, and sold it for 60. Dude, I was doing that. How do you think I was flying up and down?
Wow.
That's where I cut my teeth. So I'm doing that, and I made mistakes. I lost $5,000 on one, but I'd rather lose $5,000 than $50,000, like I did in Amity Harbor, right? So you do that, and listen, like anything else, people are going to tell you, I don't lose money. I never lost money. I don't know that to be true. You do anything long enough, you get hurt.
You get hurt, yeah, of course.
Right? So listen, I've done a lot of houses, not as many as like Charles or all these other.
How many houses do you think you've done?
Over 100, probably.
Wow, that's incredible, Ralph.
You know what? You never think about it until people talk to you about it. I never look. You're always looking at the next one. You're never looking at the.
Well, that's the thing. It's the mindset that we both share with being self-starter entrepreneurs. We don't stop. We're okay. Great. We did you chase after that deal. Like great, fantastic. Okay, where's the next one?
Right.
Where's the next one? I did that one. That one's done. Because originally I think in my head, once I get to this point, I'm gonna be great. Once I get to this point, I'm gonna be great. But what I've noticed is that wait a minute, I keep getting to these other points, and ultimately I just want to keep going. And why am I keep saying to myself, oh, when I get to this point, I'm going to feel better? No, Dan, you have it all wrong. Enjoy this process. Have fun with it.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
I'm starting to hone in on all that.
Because as I've gotten older, I've started to say, okay, listen, there are other things. I love the game, right?
Yeah, it's a fun game.
I'm in it no matter what, right?
So much fun.
Even if I don't have a W-2 job, I'm still doing this.
Because it's yours.
Right.
It's Ralph Rivera. It's 2R Properties. It's you. It's everything. You built it.
And my kids will reap the benefits more than I will.
Legacy.
Right? Oh, 100%. The equity that I have in my properties right now is ridiculous, right? Yeah. Not because, and I would love to say I'm so good and I'm so smart, but thank you, COVID, because I went from owning properties that was worth X to properties that are worth Y, and I look like a genius, right? But the fact of the matter is, I was involved and I got lucky, like everybody else. I played the game right.
Well, I don't think it's luck. I don't believe in luck. I really don't. This is what I believe in. I believe if you've been moving at a certain level, you're there at the right time, people see it, and opportunities present you. And this is very, very important. When people ask me, when's the best time to buy a house? Right now. Right now. And if the market in 3 months, I'm going to say it again. Right now. Right now. Stop timing the market. Stop timing all this stuff. Stop trying to figure all this out. It's just like any investment in the stock market. People are like, oh, I want to stock trade this. But if you invest in a mutual fund and keep your money there, yeah, it's going to dip down. But guess what? What happens ultimately?
Right.
Real estate goes up. Stocks go up. So it's
the only thing that happens is you just change when the market changes, strategy changes.
Of course, but
a real estate investor is a real estate investor.
Of course, so there's no, especially I want to say for Long Island because I know Long Island. Long Island especially, yes, it's a lot of money. It still is, but it's still going to go up.
Listen, and New York, Long Island is definitely a unique market, right? I'm doing stuff in Pennsylvania, right?
What are you getting houses out over there?
The price points, dude. I bought a 2-family for $40,000, and I'm putting 120 into it. It'll be worth $250,000.
Can I join you?
and it'll probably cash flow $1,800 to $1,900 a month for me after payments, right?
But you're putting the legwork in. You're researching that market,
and
of course.
It's a 4-hour ride, and it's blah blah blah. But the one thing that I do know about that market that's different from here is that I'm forcing the appreciation now. And I'm not going to get what I get on Long Island in 10 years. I'll get principal pay down, right? I'll get a little bit of a boost, but it's not going to go from $250,000 to $500,000. No, never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. No.
It'll be $300,000.
But it's a different strategy and a different type of rental. It's a different. But
I'm buying cash flow.
Yeah,
I'm buying a rental stream. That's what I'm buying.
See, like for me, my two things are, for me right now here, especially in Long Island, if I make $500 a month. and make 50 grand of equity, to me, that's a good deal. In my eyes, that's what my math.
Right, everybody's got their criteria.
Yes, and I feel good about that because ultimately I'm young. I know what the house is going to be worth in 30 years.
Right.
I'm going to build more equity. But you're an older gentleman. You need cash flow.
Right.
You need cash flow
I want
now.
to retire.
So yes, exactly.
Because I started late in the game.
Yes.
If I started at your age, like I try to tell my son,
Yep.
I tell my son the same thing, which my son is starting to get involved in now.
Yeah, come on.
Right.
What's your son's
now,
name?
Ralph.
Ralph, let's get going.
So what happens is in 30 years, even if you bought a shit deal, the house is going to be paid off, right? So you're going to be my age with, even if it's one, free and clear house besides your house.
Of course.
How beautiful is that?
And this is so important too. So I'm sorry, Ralph, you are an older gentleman, but I'm a younger person. And I think these are two big things to highlight when it comes to real estate investing. So my strategy for real estate investing is ultimately equity. I want equity.
Correct.
That's what I want to build. Yes, cash flow, great, fantastic. I don't need it. I got a W-2. I'm perfectly fine on my W-2. I don't need the money.
Right.
It's great. I could cycle it back. Not saying that's...
Right, and if you make a mistake, you got 30 years to correct it.
Okay. Now we talk to your... do we want to mention your age? Is that going to make you uncomfortable?
No, I don't give a
How old are you?
64.
Okay, 64. Okay, you have no retirement package. What is the thing that you need? Cash flow.
Correct.
So your investment criteria ultimately is different from my investment criteria. And that's when people like, oh, I want to get into real estate. I want to do this. Okay, but let me ask you this. What do you want?
Right.
Some people...
What's the goal?
What's the goal? Some people say, "Oh, it's cash flow. You don't make cash flow, you make nothing." And then some people say, "If you don't make equity, you make nothing." It's just like you can't. It's
See,
like
I had a mix when I started out. Even though I was in my 50s, I had a mix. Right, I wanted at least 10 to 15% equity, and make at least $500 to $600 a month. Right, so my criteria was similar to yours, a little different, and times were different though.
Yeah.
Right, so it was easy.
It's very hard to find a deal. You know that here.
Correct. Yeah.
That's why my criteria is the way it is.
Right, you try to manage it as best you can to get the best deal you can. Right, and you, like you said, you're getting your equity. Like my equity right now is more than 6 figures. Just equity.
Should be.
Right? So you look at that, and now if that sits there for 30 years, say God willing, I live another 25 years.
Never know.
Right? My son, my daughters are going to have 25, 30 years of a house being paid down on Long
How do you
Island.
feel about that?
How do I feel about what? Dying?
Yeah,
I hope it doesn't happen anytime
how do you want to die? No, but knowing the fact what you have established and what you set up, because my father did the same thing. They left my father. We have a trust with 3 properties in Copeg that rent flow, everything he fully paid off because my father bought the house outright.
Right.
But ultimately, to leave a house for each one of my brothers. That was his goal, his mission, and he has achieved that.
Right.
So I like to hear your feelings on it, because family man, we're talking about how tight everything was, and now I just want to circle back from the beginning of the podcast where we're mentioning about how everything was to now you built this legacy and how you feel as a father and ultimately what your kids are going to get.
Well, I look at it this way. I started out with nothing. My parents gave me, even though I had, like, quote unquote, nothing. Okay, we were okay. We survived, right?
Yeah.
We were lower middle class. We didn't know we were poor until later on. Because, you don't know. Your family loves you. You do it and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think it's great that I'm able to leave something that will benefit not only my children, but my grandkids, right? Because the 7th one is due in August. So I'm going to be 7
baby.
grandkids. Yeah. So to know that I'm aiding in their wealth, right? Right now, so just think about it. I have 6, that's 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 units under contract, right? For this year. Okay? Starting. So I own 10. I got 15 under contract. That'll be 25 units by the end of the year.
Wow.
Right? So now you go from having that, and cash flow obviously will be good. I have partners, don't get me wrong. But think of how significant that's going to change my children's life. Right now, all of a sudden, you get this cash flow is X amount of dollars. Right? I'm able to say, okay, I got 3 kids. Well, obviously, my wife will be taken care of. But you have X amount of money per kid. And you say, okay, listen, if I'm making 20, 30 grand a month, okay, you're going to get 10, you're going to get 10, you're going to get 10. Think about what that is to wake up and know that every month in and month out, you'll get $10,000 or $5,000.
The thing about, with the whole real estate thing, for me, and I love everything you're saying because I know you host house parties and you bring your family together. You're the house. I love it. I love it because my father does the same stuff when we go to Sicily. Our house is his spot. It's always his house, and I always love that. And I want to be that when I'm older to my family. And for me, for real estate, man, and the money is, of course, is what is like going to make this lifestyle. I don't look at money like, I want to buy a Bentley and I want to own a $2.5 million home. I don't look at money anything like that. When I look at money, I look at gaining money, making money, and buying freedom. I want freedom.
Time.
I want time. Time is the most priceless thing. You can't recreate it. It is limited. You and me just spending an hour and 15 minutes on this podcast, we'll never get that time back. No. But what I'm trying to say is that I want the ultimate freedom to do what I want. And then if my kids can benefit that will be incredible. And then my kids, because I'm going to teach my kids the value of $1, understanding that doesn't just grow on trees. Yeah, you got all, and it's all going to factor in of core values and family and legacy.
Yeah, because you know what? One of the other things too on top of it, especially owning rentals in Long Island, just say in 20 years, they're all paid off.
Yeah.
Right? That's millions. It's not just cash flow. If you decide tomorrow, my kids say, okay, I had enough of this. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, sell it.
They sell it. You got multi-millions. I mean, think about that. A kid who started out with nothing, and now all of a sudden, this family's got millions. Let's put it this way. It's not there yet, but
they need to understand the value of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter has helped me sell houses.
Oh, she knows.
Right, so she has an idea. My son is starting to get involved with me. My younger daughter invested money.
Let's go.
My youngest daughter has invested money with me. So
I love it.
I mean, it's a family thing. They all know it. My wife, she was with me for a while, going back and picking out stuff. And you know how husbands and wives are when they're going through things, you fight and you bitch and you moan. But now she watches all the grandkids, so.
We're hitting that time, Ralph. I want to ask you a question that I want you to provide to the audience. You can look into the camera. And the general question, whatever, one of those cameras. Look at one of those cameras. What I want you to say or think of, and you can have a few seconds, what is the most important thing if you're trying to get into this business? What is the best piece of advice you can give to an individual that's either starting out or is in the business that is having a tough time, maybe to correct themselves? I don't know, in that aspect, Ralph.
Well, it'll be the first thing that I didn't want to do. Definitely get somebody who can coach you, who's been down that road. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. So the people are there that are just find the right person and just listen to what people tell you. If you had all the answers, you'd be where they are and you'd have the money they had because I had to get that through my head in the beginning, and just do what you say you're going to do. And if you make a mistake, own it. Just own it. Too many people want to blame everything else. Listen, I have made mistakes because I had the wrong ARVs or I thought I was going to put 50 into it and it wound up being 80. And I've made those mistakes and it's cost me over my career. I'm not going to tell you I know everything and everything was perfect. It wasn't. But I owned them. It's cost me. Today, some things still cost me, but it is what it is,
So, Ralph, as we sign off, I want you to plug yourself back in, who you are. We know who you're, Ralph, but your investment, if you're looking for people to invest with you or connect and network, go ahead.
All right, guys. Well, you know me. I'm Ralph Rivera, 2R Properties. I'm doing a lot of rentals. I'm doing flips. Definitely can always use private money. Anybody who's looking to put money to work, I should have opportunities for you, especially if you like the cheaper markets out of state. Pennsylvania seems to be the hotbed for me right now.
Yeah, we got to talk.
And so you can reach out to me, 516-884-9527, or Ralph@2rproperty.com.
Nice.
Either way.
He gave the phone number. Nice.
Okay.
All right, everybody. That is the end of our episode. If you got any value out of this or any comments, questions, concerns, please message it in the comments section. I want to say thank you again, Ralph, for coming on, man. You're the man, and we'll do this again, man. Thank you.
Thank you.